We'll be getting this show started here shortly. Just working on a couple small little minor details. Oh, I need to mute that. So just working on a couple things here, folks, in the studio. Don't mind us. Dave, bring that up. Yeah, that works. Why is that not working out the way it needs to? It just keeps going back to that. There we go. Oh, that's not what I wanted. No, just take that out. That works better. Okay. All right, folks, we're getting ready here to get this show started. I figured this is a few moments where you can talk to me, anything like that before we get going, kind of like the pre-show kind of thing right now. We're just getting the final little details knocked out here for you guys. So, just a couple of things we're handling right now. And once again, the volume is insanely low. It is so weird. It's strange. I will just have to crank that up a little bit and be a little bit louder. There we go. Because I can't do this show without... Make sure it's got the rest of it. Damn, that thing is loud. We can't do that. But anyway, folks, give us about 3 more minutes, and we'll be here live to go. So give me 3, maybe 3 more minutes, maybe. So we'll be right back with you. Dave, you got everything you need? Yeah. All right. Does it look good? Okay. Cool. All right, folks. We'll see you in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yeah, it'll be 2 minutes. So here we go. Funny thing is, I did that because... Gentlemen, I say it's now time once again for the one and only, the world famous Rich Wilson Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world famous Rich Wilson Show.
Hey, ladies ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the world famous Rich Wilson Show. I'm Rich Wilson, and you're not. That's right, folks. But hey, how you guys doing today on a Thursday? Folks, by the way, if you do like what you see and you want to check out more, make sure you click on that subscribe button, click the bell for notifications, hit like, and share this with all of your friends. That's right, share it with everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, shall we get started with our one story? Well, we have multiple stories tonight. We're going to try to get through them kind of quickly. So anyway, folks, if you haven't heard in the news, the Biden administration has notified us that the United States will be taking 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. That's right, 100,000 of them. Now, I'm all about helping people out in a situation, giving them a place to go because, you know, of circumstances, situations. But here's the problem with every time we take refugees in, there's no sending them home. Now, I have no problems with bringing them here to the United States and giving them a chance to be safe until the all clear. But we don't ever send refugees back afterwards. We don't. And the problem is, what are we going to do with 100,000 people that from another country at this point? What are we going to do? Now, of course, Joy Reid made the statement that the only reason why we're willing to take 100,000 of these refugees and not 100,000 from other war-torn areas is because they're mostly white. I mean, that woman can't get any more racist than she already has, but that's not the case. See, understand something, Miss Reid. Part of the agreement, hey Dave, part of the agreement that we had with the taking care of Ukraine, if they gave up all their nuclear and biological weapons, was we would take care of them. This is included in that, but the problem is even then and now, there's no sunset clause to when they have to leave. Okay, so once they come over here, that they're here, and they're not going anywhere. And then so my question is, at this point, where we're going to put them? How are we going to pay for this? Because they're not going to go back to Ukraine. Here's the deal. Now, I will say you probably will get a lot of them that will go back to Ukraine because of how proud they are about their country. It wasn't like they were leaving that country in droves to come here. But a lot of times when you get people from other countries and they come to the United States and get a taste of the United States, and, you know, don't let the liberals know, but they find out how great the United States really is, they don't want to leave. Okay? Because when they come here, it's not what the left says on the news on how horrible a place this is. It's not as bad as the people like Joy Reid and the bullshit they say. So I had an idea. I was thinking about this, right? So we're taking 100,000 Ukrainians in. Okay? We're taking 100,000 Ukrainians in. And of course, they're going to find out how great America is firsthand. And I figure we have about 100,000 people who absolutely hate the United States that are Americans. Let's send them to Ukraine and plop them in the middle of Ukraine. First of all, I'd hate to do that to President Zelensky. But let's put them in the middle of Ukraine and let them see how bad the shit can really get when the world is falling apart around you. Literally, the world is falling apart. Okay, let's do that. I mean, I was all for taking all these people as I stand with the Palestinians against Israel, sending them to Palestine and let them experience the Palestinian culture firsthand. That would have been interesting. And so we're going to take 100,000 of these people in. Let's trade. We'll take 100,000 a year, people. We're going to send you 100,000. Now, it's not exactly a fair trade because we're not exactly sending you the best people. But we want to see how, they end up shitting their pants and wanting to come back to the United States in a hurry, realizing that the United States isn't actually that bad after all. Now, are we going to do that? Absolutely not. Would it be funny? Yeah, except that I would feel bad for the Ukrainian people who just got 100,000 worthless Americans as a trade-off. It's kind of like, to give you an example for those of you out there, it's kind of like trading players from the championship Rams, and what you end up getting is the Cowboys players. But that's kind of crap. It's just not a good. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I wearing my Eagles hat a little too loud tonight? Oh, yeah, I guess I am. Anyway. So that's kind of what it wouldn't be fair to them, and nor am I going to say rip 100,000 people out of their homes and send them over to a war. I mean, my God, we do that all the time with soldiers anyway, but they're actually the good people. They're the ones willing to go do these things. God help the ones that are bitch moaning and complaining about how horrible the greatest country on the face of the earth is. But like I said again, the problem I have with this is, and I don't have a problem with us taking care of these people, but first of all, where are we going to put them? That's 100,000 people. Okay, that's 100,000 people. Now, if you live in a city that's got millions, then that's not that big of a number, right? It's a drop in the bucket. But that's not a majority of the city. The cities in the United States don't have millions of people. So we're going to bring them in the United States, and then we're going to have to take care of them because they're coming over here with nothing, and we're going to have to continue to take care of them. And then what do we do with them? Because when this is all said and done and over with, the United States isn't going to go, hey, go back to Ukraine. I mean, look at the illegal aliens that come here. We don't send them. We're not, kicking 12.5 million people out of this country that are here illegally. So what makes you think they're going to send 100,000 people that they brought here out of this country? They're not going to. So that's going to be 100,000 more U.S. citizens that we're going to end up having. I just, like I said, I don't agree with not having a sunset on this deal, and there is none. I read the statement on the condition on the deal. There's no sunset on it. There's no state that says when the war is officially over and Russia goes home and Ukraine can start the rebuilding process. There's no statement in there that says, okay, the 100,000 refugees we have can go back. We don't have that. So, it's going to be interesting. Let's see what happens. I like I said, I don't know. I see, though, with the amount of pride these people have in their country over there, there's going to be a bunch that are going to come over here and they're going to enjoy themselves while they're here in the United States. But then you're going to have a good majority of them that are going to want to go back to Ukraine. But you're going to have a majority of them that aren't going to want to go back to Ukraine because they simply have nothing to go back to. Can you blame them? I mean, I couldn't. You get brought over here and taken care of in the land of the free, the home of the brave, the greatest country in the world. Are you really going to want to go back to absolute and total destruction and have to rebuild it from the ground up? So, let's just hope that somehow, some way that this comes to an end. I mean, the President of the United States said today, he wasn't supposed to say this, but the United States said today, the President said, if the Russians use chemical warfare, we're going to respond in kind. Now, some of you are saying, oh, that means we're going to be nice. No, that's not what that term means. When you say you're going to respond in kind to someone, that means you are going to respond to them with the equivalent of what they have done. So, Joe screwed up there and said if the Russians start using chemical weapons, we're going to start using them back. Pretty sure that's not what he meant to say, but that's what he said. And the thing is most of us older people understand that term. I don't think that's a term that's used commonly by the youth today. But when you say that you're going to do that, that means you're going to respond back with the same amount of force of this, or the same amount of, or the same type of force that was used, which means we're going to use chemical weapons, according to Joe. I don't foresee that happening, but I'm not going to say we don't have any. So let's move on to our next story, shall we? So our next story. So California and actually some other states are coming up with this. California came up with this brilliant idea because we have inflation and fuel prices are affected by that inflation. $400 to California for each vehicle registered in their name. The current plan would allocate money through a debit card to all vehicle registrants, including motorcycle and electric vehicle owners, regardless of income, as early as this summer. Payments would be capped at $800 for anyone with more than one vehicle registered under their name. Through households with multiple vehicles registered to different family members could receive far more than that amount, because it's 2 vehicles per person. Okay. See, payments would be capped at $800 with anyone with more than one vehicle. So if you're in most modern households, what you're going to have is you're going to have people that are going to, why is that high? Dave, we messed that one up. There, that's better. I think that's partially my fault. I was involved in that. So think about that, right? We just had this issue with inflation. You dump more money in the market, which raises the demand for items, and the items drop. We've gone through this multiple times on my show. And I've told you before, the thing that caused this was them dumping bunches and bunches of money into the system and just printing crap loads of money. Well, now, the answer to the problem, according to the Democrats to the left and one Republican governor, which I wouldn't exactly say that guy's a conservative. But California, Maine, Minnesota, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, Illinois, New Jersey, which is already doing it, and Vermont. California and Illinois are talking about the debit card thing. Maine, Minnesota, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Vermont. Yeah, it's Illinois and California. Are going to just send you a check. That's what they're planning on doing to compensate you for the overwhelming rise in gas prices. But notice I said that it's on a debit card. It's not on a fuel card. And it can't be because, well, what the hell for a person with an electric car? What are they going to, what gas station are they going to go to? What are you going to have? $400 in cigarettes, booze, and Slim Jims? I mean, don't get me wrong. $400 cigarettes and Slim Jims. But you're going to have this situation again where, like I was saying before, in most of your modern households, when you have multiple vehicles, usually the vehicles are registered to not like the husband doesn't have them all, or the wife doesn't have them all, or the other wife or the other husband, doesn't have all the vehicles registered in their name. In your modern ones. Now, when I was a kid, my father had all the vehicles registered in his name. My grandfather, the same thing. All the vehicles registered in his name. But in the modern era now, in the current era, I'm not saying, modern isn't even the right word. the current era, usually each member that has a car has it registered in their name. So say you've got a household where you've got 2 adults and each has a car, and then you have 2 teenagers and they each have a car. It's 4 vehicles times 400. Okay? Okay, so just think about that for a second. Okay, you're talking about $1,600 coming into a house. But then you got somebody, $1,600 for transportation. Now, how many of you think that those teenagers are going to spend the $400 on the gas for their vehicle? They're not. Because a lot of kids, there's a lot of kids. Not going to say there isn't any kids that didn't earn their own car, but there's a lot of kids out there for their 16th birthday, mom and dad bought them a car. Mom and dad's giving them a credit card. They have a cell phone, stuff like that. And there's a lot of them out there that didn't earn it themselves. So what makes you think they're going to spend it on that? What makes you think half these adults are going to spend it on fuel? Like it's intended. I mean, come on. You can sit there and say what you want about it. You're like, oh, well, with the cost of gas, it's, that's what they're going to spend it on. Okay, y'all remember the stimulus checks they sent out during COVID? Do you know how much of that actually got spent on what it was intended for? Based on the spike of consumer purchases in the United States, when the stimulus checks went out, only 11% was spent on what the designation of the checks were. Only 11%. A majority of the money was spent on non-discretionary stuff. Or discretionary stuff. My mind's drawing a blank on that. But anyway, going out, TVs, game systems, cell phones, clothing, stuff like that. So what in the hell makes you think we're going to give them this money and they're going to spend it only on the gas? They're not. They're going to buy other stuff. Now, the reason why I said the left didn't learn their lesson is because the left got us into this mess. Trump started it. The left just took it and to the moon with it. And guess what? California, Maine, Minnesota, New Mexico. California, Maine, Minnesota, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, Illinois, New Jersey. Every single those governors are Democrats. Now, Vermont's a Republican, but I'd have to say that man's a Republican in name only. All of them. So here we go again with the media. The media started to push the narrative of we need more stimulus checks just for everybody. All you're going to do is make inflation worse. Here's another reason why I disagree with that whole premise and that idea. Once you get people completely dependent on them sending checks out to take care of things for them, guess what? It won't stop. Case in point, name a social program they've shut down. I'll wait. They don't. So if they start sending out these these checks as a social program, it's just going to keep going. We're gonna end up like Greece. Hell, I'll make another comparison. We're going to be Germany right before World War II, where they printed so many marks that a cup of coffee cost you 10, 20 million marks. And by the time you got the wheelbarrow of cash down to the coffee shop to get another cup of coffee, you needed a second wheelbarrow because the price jumped that fast. You can't just keep giving out free money. You just can't do this. And that's the plan again. We're just going to keep dumping more money into it, and eventually it'll fix the problem. No, it won't. All you're going to do is continuously devalue the dollar. That's all you're going to do. Inflation's going to keep skyrocketing. Here's an idea. If you don't got to drive somewhere, don't. I mean, the problem is now if you want to go, somebody said the other day, well, if you don't want to, you could just use DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats to get your food instead of driving to go get it. They're charging extra now to pay so their drivers can pay for fuel to deliver your food. We found that out the other day. We have Dash Pass and still had to pay $5 for our delivery. So yeah, it if you don't have to, don't. Now, if you got to go to work, understand. But if you don't have to, then don't get in the car and go drive 15 hours to go see your friend you ain't seen in 8 months. To go hang out for a weekend and drive back. With the cost of gas the way it is, that's just stop pushing the demand and the market will begin to correct itself. You, the consumer, needs to lower the demand and then the prices come back down. It's really difficult to do. I understand that, but that's what you got to do. Like I said, I'm kind of running through topics tonight. Because it's, Thursday, which is our Friday. So, folks, just dumping more money. And we've talked about this to no end. Dumping more money into the economy is not going to fix the problem. It's only going to make it worse, and it's going to keep making it worse. We just can't do it. So, where's the... Oh, that's right. I couldn't bring it up because I couldn't read it. So a lot of you know that I'm a big race fan. If anybody knows me, I'm a big NASCAR fan. And one of the things that's been a problem for NASCAR is they're not very consistent on their rulings. Well, I would say this year NASCAR realized this. That's Brad Keselowski. Old Wreckham Keselowski over there. Well, Brad is now getting ready to receive his second fine of the season. Now, earlier in the beginning of the season, they made a change to the rims without authorization, and the owners organization, Keselowski is part owners with Roger Penske, and they ended up receiving a fine for making alterations to the rims on the cars. Well, they found out that Brad was running with an illegal support mechanism inside the vehicle at the end of the Atlanta race, which Brad, here's the funny thing about it is Brad is a co-owner. Brad's going to receive a $100,000 fine for a illegal part on the car, a $50,000 fine for being the driver of said car that had an illegal part in it. His crew chief's getting a $50,000 fine. And they're going to be charged 50 owner points, or 150 owner points and 100. No, it's 100 owner points and 100 driver points. That's a big hit when you're only three races into a season. That is a huge hit. And his crew chief is being suspended for 4 races. When NASCAR this year said they were dropping the hammer on the shenanigans, they weren't lying. They were not lying at all. Just to give you an idea of how bad a 100-point driver fine is when you're a NASCAR driver. Say you win a bunch of races, right? But say second, third, the guys in second through fifth are constantly second and fifth behind you, right? You only gain about 20 points a race. So you could, because of a 100-point fine, you could legitimately win more races than anybody in a season and still end up losing because of that fine. NASCAR is not screwing around this year, which for me has made this year more interesting to watch because you don't have the inconsistencies, and pretty much everybody right now sucks because they got a brand new car and nobody's had, and they're still feeling this damn thing out, and everybody sucks, which has made the racing a lot closer. And I'm enjoying it because it's not the one car leaves and everybody else tries to figure it out behind them. It's actually been pretty entertaining. This weekend they're in San Antonio or in Austin. I wish I could go. They're at the road course at Circuit of the Americas, what we call COTA. They're there this weekend in Austin. Wish I could go. I really do. It'd be a lot of fun, but unfortunately can't because I got something else coming up the following weekend. So at least, hey, NASCAR is being very, very, very consistent. Kudos to you. Now, I had a friend on Facebook yesterday run one of those goofball conspiracy theories about how certain people have ruined things, and he said that Bubba Wallace ruined NASCAR. I could tell you right now, hey, Black Wolf's over there on Facebook, Bubba Wallace ain't ruined NASCAR. NASCAR is running perfectly fine without him. Just like basketball, LeBron James didn't ruin basketball, and I don't remember the rest of them. But he running one of those conspiracy theories that these individuals have ruined sports. Now, one thing I will get on you about, or well, I will tell you one person that's ruined some things, and that would be. Did y'all notice? I had a picture up here somewhere. I don't know what we did with it. We saved it and we put it in the wrong file. But anyway, y'all familiar with who Jesse Smollett is? If you guys aren't familiar with him, in fact, give me a second here. I'll bring a picture of him up for you. Normally I have Dave do this, but in case you guys weren't wondering, remember Jesse Smollett was the guy who faked his own hate crime. Paid a bunch of dudes to beat him up, and then claimed that he was attacked by white people. Then we find out later he wasn't attacked by white people. In fact, he was attacked by two black gentlemen, and he paid them. And I don't know if you saw recently what it transpired in the courtroom when he got found guilty of this. And like I said, we're going to get you the photographs real quick so you know what we're talking about. Oof, that is a huge damn photo. Get any better. That's Jesse Smollett, by the way, folks. And then the two guys that were involved in it. So anyway, when he was found guilty of, oh yeah, and they were wearing mega hats too. I don't have that photograph, but when he was found guilty of, it was filing a false police report and a bunch of kind of things. He was given 150 days in jail. 150 days. Now, 150 days is not a long time. It sucks when you're a pompous, brat that was an actor. It's difficult for you to go to do that and go to jail. But 150 days ain't shit. It's not. Okay. So when they convicted him of it and they sentenced him to 150 days, as they were taking him away to county lockup to get him prepped for 150 days in jail, he starts screaming out, I did not do this. I'm innocent and I'm not suicidal. Like, son, you're not as important. You're not that important. The Clintons aren't going to take you out like they took Epstein out, okay? I'm just saying. What he was worried about, it wasn't worry that he was going to kill himself. He was worried that once he got and the worst part was he wasn't going to a state prison for 150 days. That's the other thing about this, folks. He wasn't going to a prison. Okay? He was going to lockup. It's not a prison. Okay? He wasn't going to go do no damn hard time. Okay? What he was concerned about is that when he got there, they were going to kill him. Okay? That's what he was concerned about. Well, I can tell you that prison is a rough situation. I have a lot of friends that both have either worked at prisons or been inside prisons. You know. And I mean, we ain't talking about this vacation. But we talking county jail. Okay? County jail. For 150 days. You going to be in there sweeping and mopping the floors and doing yard work for 150 days. Okay? You're going to be getting your pretty little fingernails dirty. Okay? But he's up there screaming, I'm not suicide. I'm not this. Dude, you're doing 150 days. Hell, there's kids that are 15 that have done more time than they're doing more time than you. You know, yeah, he's pretty much, Black Wolf's over there. He's like, he's going to county jail with people with traffic tickets. You're not going with murderers and rapists and, child molesters. Well, they don't sit in the same prison unit as as general population, but you're not going in there with hardcore criminals. You going in there with people who, wrote bad checks and committed online scams and shit and got traffic tickets. Stuff like that. Yeah, this ain't going to nobody hard, but no, this is how bad it was, folks. Me and you, if we go to jail and we go to file an appeal, because this is the funny thing about this. If me or you goes to jail right now and they give us 150 days, first of all, who the hell files an appeal on a 150-day sentence? By the time your ass gets back to where you could be in court, you've already served your time. So at that point, the only thing you're going to try to do is file an appeal to get your record cleared out, or you just get an expungement on your record. But that would be us. People like us, we'd go to jail for 150 days. And even if we were trying to file an appeal, our asses would be sitting in jail. But not Jesse Smollett, folks. Jesse Smollett, who is currently supposed to be sitting in jail, when his lawyers filed an appeal, they begged with the court that his health and well-being may be in danger, and they released him to wait his appeal. Me and you, we do that kind of thing? Yeah, but Black Wolf over there saying he only spent 3 days in jail. 2 days of that, he was in the infirmary area, and undergoing psychiatric evaluation before they even took him over to processing to put him in general population at the jail. So the guy was in general population at the county jail for maybe about 2.5 hours before the lawyer got him yanked out of there. The rest of us do that. They're not letting us out. In fact, the rest of us, if we got 150 damn days, we're like, well, shit. I guess I'll tell my friends I'll get to that dock I promised I'd build them, in 6 months. That's just damn asinine. Why is it that celebrities get this kind of a treatment? Because it's not like that man has money, because believe it or not, he doesn't actually have that much money. A lot of the money that he was getting because he got fired from his TV show was people were paying GoFundMes to pay for his legal services, even though he faked his attack. Okay, he faked his attack. And then he picked the two dudes that obviously, sung like canaries. Because them dudes were all willing to give up all the info. And the worst part is Smollett paid him. He paid him in full. 8 Joe Biden scandals found on Hunter's laptop. I just got that. What's that all about? Is that worth anything? Probably not. Let's see here. I just got this news alert that popped up, folks. You know, we're all about breaking news around here. Okay, this is all shit we already know. Okay, we already know that. We already know that. We already know that. Yep, we know that already. Well, we already know all about it. Trust me, everybody's been covering that now. So, folks, it's all scandals you guys already saw. We're not going to go into that. We may do a thing on Joe Biden and his son Hunter. We might. I don't know yet. But I mean, dude, I tell you what though, you want to talk about CBS got complaints, and a lot of them, because they decided to show some of the imagery on Hunter's laptop. Now, of course, they did censor out things, but you know, there's nothing like seeing the son of the President of the United States, you know, as the base of an Eiffel Tower, if you get what I'm saying. For those of you that know that lingo, you just marinate in that one. Okay, for those of you who have no idea what I just said, trust me, it's better to be oblivious. The worst part is there was a dog in the video. Not doing anything like that, but there was a dog. There was a dog and a Pokemon in that too. But anyway, CBS aired this. They even aired what they thought was a clean shot of just Hunter talking to this girl after they had done something. And yeah, somebody filed a complaint. And if you looked in on that video, there he wasn't just sitting there talking to the chick. She was kind of taking care of some business while he was laid out. Anyway, CBS is in a shit ton of trouble for what they did. The FCC is probably going to be dropping a fine on them. So that's that. Let me go ahead and get rid of this now because I don't want to talk about that loser. So anyway, folks, one thing I did run into this past week is there was a cell phone video released from the Leah Thompson situation there at the state championships. And evidently this dude tried to have a discussion with this lady. From what my understanding is the foreground to this is the lady was booing Leah Thompson that was swimming in the pool. She was booing them. They're booing her. Yeah, her. I don't know if the pronouns are them. I said them. I get so many people with this to say it's they, them, and I think I'm just automatically saying it now. But that's wrong on my part. I can't do that. I can't do that. I have to ask them what the pronouns are. So anyway, while she was competing, evidently this lady was booing. And so this guy tried to have a conversation with her about why she was booing. And I got the video of it.
Are you saying you think that his body is the same as the other girls in the pool?
Everybody is different.
No. Are you saying he doesn't have male organs?
So do you think that you know
Are you
everything
saying
about
he doesn't have male organs?
I don't think that she. I think you're twisting words, and I think you have no idea. Oh, actually, let me ask you.
Does he have no? I'm a woman. That is not a woman.
Can I ask you a
That
question?
is not a woman.
Can I ask you a
Do
question?
you have ovaries?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go on, then ask me a question. Ask me a question.
Are you a biologist?
Oh my god, don't be ridiculous. I'm not a vet, but I know what a dog is. You rely on stupid arguments because you don't have an argument.
No, I have arguments. If you let me speak, we can talk about it.
I'm not an astrophysicist, but I know what space is.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you know faith-based works. I'm happy to have a real conversation with you if you'd like. If you want to have a conversation.
If you don't think this is going to destroy women's sports, if this is alright with you, then I'm sorry, but it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Okay. So, first of all, let's be honest about some things. All right. Regardless of how you feel about transgenders competing in sports, now I'm going to be straight across honest with you. There is not enough research to prove one way or the other yet. I'll say it. There's not enough research to prove either way. A lot of people saying, well, you see, compared to the amount of transgenders who are actually now competing in athletics, there still isn't enough studies. There is research being done. There are studies being done. Now, can you go off of the biological arguments? Well, I say you go to somebody who would know firsthand. That would be Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner who is transgender, who is transitioned into a woman from being a male, will tell you firsthand that anyone who has crossed puberty, there is a difference. There is a notable difference in performance between the two. Caitlyn Jenner will tell you right now that Caitlyn Jenner is in a part of a golf club that has some pretty damn good high-end golf players in it, and they have both a males league and a females league. Caitlyn Jenner refuses to play in the female league of golfing. Only plays on the male side because Caitlyn Jenner, who, like I said, is transgender, will tell you that transgender males who have gone through puberty as a biological male has a physical advantage. Now, that's coming from Caitlyn Jenner. But I will tell you this, that they are still in the process of researching this. Making the jump to say that, oh, well, transgender are going to destroy the competition. That's not been proven yet. One thing I will tell you, though, this argument about about Leah Thompson, or is it Thomas? I apologize, I'm getting the name wrong. But anyway, came out the box, and I say that in a racing term. Came out the box, destroying the competition. When Leah went over to the women's division of swimming, okay? Came out of the box, was destroying the competition. Now, everybody's using this last competition as their argument to say that, no, you know, she's still not the fastest woman. She's still not this. She's still not that. She destroyed the one record when she came out and started swimming in the women's swimming category. She destroyed it in the competition. She destroyed the competition multiple times before we got to the national championships. Then there was something a little different. Now everybody's like, consistency. Really? When she broke the record, and for a couple of different competitions before we got into the divisional championships, the conference championships, and then then the national championships. Okay, it's actually conference, divisional, and then national. Okay, the conference championships destroyed it, crushed it. Then suddenly lost over 30 seconds going into the divisionals, and lost another 30 seconds going into the nationals. So I have a theory about that. See, I drag race. Well, I used to. Used to be involved in drag racing. And when you're doing match racing, what you do is guys go out, run a bunch of times, and they take those times and compare them to others. And it depends on how long, if you're a fast car, how long you got to sit at the light when the other guy gets to go. Because based on your average speed, or based on your average times, is what your time, your start light set at. So they figure by the time you both get to the end, you'll be pretty side by side, be a pretty close race. But then there's guys who don't do that. There's guys and girls that race that don't put the car all the way out there to sandbag their time, and that's what it's called. It's called sandbagging. The same girl that Leah beat by only a few seconds, beat by almost a half of course in the conference championships. Same one. The Nationals, the one that she beat by just a few, the other one she beat by just a few seconds from Sarasota, Florida. Actually, the Sarasota, Florida girl is the one who finished second. She beat by only a few seconds. The other girl, I think, was second or third that she destroyed earlier in a competition. Now, I know sports, and I know training. Okay? In the period of 4 months, no one, unless they are taking something, train themselves up to pick up that much time. That would be like somebody that's running at a decent marathon pace or running at a decent lap pace, then 3 months later running the speed of Usain Bolt when they were nowhere close to that. I honestly believe, this is what I honestly believe, and you could say what you want about it. The NCAA was taking a hell of a lot of heat for this. A lot of different, Penn was taking a lot of heat for this. Leah started sandbagging. And you know what? I will literally go as far as say lost the other competitions to get the heat to go away. I'm pretty sure, because guess what? I know how these athletic departments and the athletic commissions work. Hell, I watched them do it to Joe Paterno. If they're taking a lot of heat, they'll make people pay for it, especially the NCAA. Okay? The National Communist Athletic Association. Okay? If they're taking heat for something, that people, doesn't matter how good they are, it doesn't matter who they are. The NCAA will turn around and make you pay for it. And I'm pretty sure Leah got put into a room and got told, you either knock it off or we're going to turn around and we're going to disqualify you. We'll find another reason other than you are transgender to disqualify you so we don't look bad. So people using this argument that, she only won by like a second in this competition and lost another competition, and she didn't break the national championship record in the 500 meter that this one girl put up. No, because the National Communist Athletic Association, which is the NCAA, and trust me, I'm not fans of those individuals, pulled Leah into a room and said, you guys can knock this shit off and make it look close, or we'll find a way to disqualify you and discredit you. They did it to Joe Paterno. They've done it to a lot of legendary coaches and athletes in college. What do you think makes Leah Thompson any more special? What? Because Leah Thompson's transgender? Trust me when I tell you this, the NCAA, no one's special. God would get disqualified if he brought too much heat into the NCAA. Okay? They don't care. Trust me when I tell you this. Now, once again, I've been asked. I have friends in the transgender community. I have friends all the way across the spectrum in the LGBTQ community. Okay, I have friends in all aspects of it. Okay, and I've been asked by a couple of them, what do I feel about transgender people competing in sports? I am all for people being who they want to be and being where they want to be. You're talking about the guy here who supports uses of steroids in baseball. It's your body. Do what you want with it. Just don't come crying to me when you're 40 years old and you can't walk anymore. You know, don't come to me when you get in your 50s and you're drooling in your oatmeal. Okay? Don't. I didn't have a problem with professional wrestlers using steroids. Didn't have a problem with baseball. I mean, hell, I actually watched that entire season that Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were going for the home run record. I don't care. In all honesty, I don't care. You want to go compete in a sport? Go compete in a sport. Go for it. Now you're going to say, oh, well, that's going to destroy women's sports. No, it's not. No, it's not. I don't think it will, and here's the reason why. Somebody had said before, competition makes people stronger. Competition makes people rise up to the case. Do I think that transgender females that were males before they started their transition or their identification have an advantage physically? Yeah. I believe that there is, if by Caitlyn Jenner's case, case of once you've passed puberty, things are different. I think there is a little bit of a difference there. Do I think it's astronomical? No, I don't think it's astronomical. I really don't. I've met, I'm and friends with transgenders that are more physically fit than me and way less physically fit than me. And we can go in a common ground. We can take a common ground here. This is one of the things that everybody's at each other's throats. Everybody's at each other's throats over this. So let's have some common ground on this then. You've got one side that says transgenders are going to destroy the sport. You have another side that says they're not. All right, why not give them their own division? Quite literally, give them their own division. Not only does that allow them to compete as who they are, but that now highlights them even more. And I am willing to bet the transgender division will be much more entertaining to watch and much more competitive. I bet you will not have a breakout that, like, through an entire season of swimming, one person dominating the entire thing. I'm willing to bet you won't. I bet you it'd actually be closer. I bet you it'd be more. I bet you it'd be more entertaining. In fact, I'll tell you what. If they actually started their own division, so you got the men's competition, the women's competition, and the transgender competition. If they did that, then I will go watch it. I will go root them on because I like I said, I think the competitions will actually be way closer. I think they'll be much more interesting to watch. Hell, I've been to some of these track meets and stuff like that where it's the same guy week in and week out, the same woman week in and week out at these competitions, just destroying the competition. While the rest of the girls in that competition, the rest of the guys in that competition, they're fighting for second place. Hell, I just made the comment about NASCAR. At least this year, NASCAR is more interesting because everybody sucks right now. And so the racing's a lot closer. And it's not one guy driving off from the field while everybody else tries to figure out what they're doing. I think transgender sports would be more interesting. I think it'd be a lot closer. And like I said, at that point, you give them their own division. And now you're highlighting and spotlighting them. You're giving them the platform. And you're promoting them. That way they don't get murked up. It doesn't get murky in this or murky in that. Hell, people were saying that you know, the trans males who were female don't have a chance with the males. There's a wrestler that is a trans male, was born a female, now trans male, that won a state championship. So you don't give me the argument that you know, it's for a bunch. I saw this argument today, and I think this argument's completely wrong. It's for a bunch of never was male athletes that can't compete, so they're switching over so they can. Now, there's two cases that were made national. This one got global attention, but then there was the runner who was like one of the lowest ranked male runners in the country and transitioned and became one of the top female runners in the country. Now, I will tell you that when you use that discussion in research, that's where your conversation can be had. Like Leah Thompson was ranked 460 something and became ranked number 1 in the difference. But like I said before, I think transgender, if you give transgender their own division, I think the racing will be a lot closer, a lot more interesting. It'll be a fun. It'll be entertaining to root for. I think you might actually you might have more people in the stands in a transgender swimming competition versus a male one or a female swimming competition. Which, believe it or not, and people talk about disparities in male sports versus female sports, right? The one thing that would also do is get rid of that, because then at that point you can't say it's one either or. And I mean, there was so many things that could come out of that. I think that would be my response to that. I think that, you know, give them their own division. Nikolai's over here saying stop segregation, equality for all, no child left behind, start for school children, stop racism and hatred. What do all these things have in common? They all lead to the same end, becoming what the groups try to stop. Well, I'm not. There's a lot to unpack there, Eric. Okay, so stop segregation. Yes, we have a problem with segregation happening now in the United States. For some reason, we are going backwards in time. That needs to stop. Equality for all. Absolutely. Everybody needs to be treated equally. I mean, we could turn around, and since the argument is that a transgender female is not it does not have a bigger advantage than the women, then fine, then let's not have different divisions. I mean, we could do it like the Trans Am series and the Rolex series does. You got first place in the men's division, first place in the women's division, and first place in the transgender division, but they all race on the same course. They all race on the same course. It'd be interesting. Why not? I'd like to see women's baseball come back personally. And no, I'm not talking about like the skirts from a league of their own. Let them wear pants and the shirts just like the men. I want to see women's baseball come back. I get that, but it stops at college, you know. And trust me, I love watching girls softball in college. It is way more entertaining than the men's baseball in college. I don't watch basketball at all, so I can't tell you which one of those. I wouldn't mind seeing a legitimate women's football league, not the lingerie league, even though I know somebody who was in the lingerie league. She's a wonderful human being, but I would like to see a legitimate women's football league. But let's go on with the rest of what we're. No Child Left Behind is a bullshit thing that never worked. We need to go back to old school education. Teach kids math, history, science, writing, reading. Give them driver's ed and economics so they can be productive human beings in the world. Stop racism. Yep. And stop the overuse of the word racism. Not everything is fucking racist. Let's see the next statement on there. And hatred. Yeah, if you hate somebody, you got problems in your life. I mean, legitimately, if somebody did you wrong, like bad, wrong, you should hate them. I don't have a problem with that, but there's no reason to hate anybody. There's so many people that I disagree with so much on so many levels, and I don't hate them. We just disagree. What I dislike is the people who hate someone because because a person doesn't agree with them. Those are people that shouldn't breed. What do all these things have in common? They lead to the same end, becoming what the groups try to stop. Unity is what they don't want. They don't want us all. They don't want us all together. They want us to be separated. That's how they gain power over us. Keeping you divided gives them power over you. So, I hope I unpacked all of that. By the way, folks, that's coming out of the Facebook chat. I'm not a fan of the No Child Left Behind thing. It didn't work. It's very horrible. It was a lot of money that got dumped into something that never worked. We need to go back to the basics. Stop teaching our children all this other garbage. Teach them reading, writing, math, history, science, modern economics, so they can understand how the real world works. Hell, in my school they did it. Teach kids how to interview for jobs when they become seniors. Actually have a guidance counselor program that legitimately is there for guidance. Okay? To say, hey, what do you want to do with the rest of your life, and how can we find a way to work on making that happen? So I was never a fan of that. Now, a Head Start program, I've never had an issue with the Head Start program. I never really have people like, well, you're starting your kids out too early, and they not have. You know what? Some kids in this country are a little slow, and maybe they should start a little early. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. Especially since we live in a world where both parents got to work, it does help. So I don't necessarily have a problem with Head Start. What I have a problem with is people turning schools into indoctrination stations. And it's that way on both sides. Okay? Not just one. But I have a problem with schools being turned into indoctrination stations. We have some of the lowest. We're not the top level of the education scale anymore. We need to get there. So we need to figure out where we're going wrong with that. Where we're going wrong with that is we're not teaching our kids the basics and preparing them for a legitimate college education, not basket weaving with how to be oppressed. I know it's backtracking a little, but when it comes to some sports, they split the competitions by weights. We can do that too. And I know you're a little back. I know you're a little bit behind on that one, but that's fine. You had some stuff to take care of. But we could do that too in swimming. All right, we got weight categories because weight equals drag in the water. I mean, come on. Y'all ever watch professional cyclists? Do you see a big one in the bunch? They're all about pretty close to the same weight. I was getting antibiotics and food. Nah, yay. Gotcha. Understandable, brother. But anyway, folks, that's it for the show. I'm rambling on like crazy. We are going to end the show on a little bit of a sad note for some people. We lost, somebody was actually pretty decent it was a pretty decent human being and did a lot for this country over the years and continue to do so, do more for this country even after she was out. Madeleine Albright passed away earlier this week. Madeleine Albright was the Secretary of State under the Clinton administration. Now, I know there's people that have issues back and forth depending on, parties and stuff like that, but Madeleine Albright did do, I kind of look at her as she was the last Democrat that was actually still a Democrat and not a flying off the handle liberal Democrat. And she actually did her job well. From my understanding, every other country that had to deal with her understood when she walked in the door, she meant business. She wasn't there to screw around. And it's sad to say, but we haven't really had a lot of Secretary of State since her that have done that. In fact, we haven't had another woman that as a Secretary of State. Well, that's not true because Condi Rice was pretty goddamn good at what she did. But Hillary Clinton was horrible as a Secretary of State. We had some we've had some decent ones, but Madeleine Albright was from, what foreign dignitaries have even said about her. Said that woman was definitely unique. She was definitely unique, and so we lost one of our country's good ones. I met her. Wonderful. She was wonderful, very nice, very articulate about things, and when you asked her questions, she never shied away from questions. You asked her a question, even if you thought you were trying to pull party line question, and she'd sit there and talk with you and discuss with you. I didn't get the chance to have discussions with her. I got a chance to meet her. She was at an event that I got invited to go to with a friend of mine, and she was there, and she had one of her books that she was selling at this event, and I got a chance to say hi to her, and she was a good person. She really was. So anyway, we had to, but she like I said, she ranks up there pretty high in the Secretary of States that have done a good job, in their office. There's been some really bad ones, but she was one of the good ones. So tonight, we end this show by saying goodbye to Madeleine Albright. Ladies and gentlemen, for everybody here at the world famous Rich Wilson Show, I'm Rich Wilson. We'll see you back here Monday night. Have yourselves a safe weekend. Good night.